Hello and welcome to Minerals, Rocks, and Fossil Talks. I'm your geology teacher, Jen, and it's time for Throwback Thursday. This is Mount Pinatubo. It is found in the Philippines as part of the Luzon volcanic arc along the Manila Trench subduction zone. So, pretty volcanic area. On July 16th, 1990, a magnitude 7.8 earthquake struck about 62 miles northeast of Pinatubo. It was the largest recorded that year, and some speculate it may have triggered the eruption the following year, but it's not possible to prove this conclusively. On March 15th of 1991, a succession of earthquakes increasing in intensity was felt on the northwestern side of the volcano by villagers. On April 2nd, phreatic eruptions, if you recall, those are the steam-driven explosions, occurred along a 0.93 mile or 1.5 kilometer long fissure near the summit. Over the next few weeks, volcanic ash dusted the surrounding area. Throughout May, sulfur dioxide emissions increased from 500 tons to 5,000 tons per day. And then it dropped substantially after May 28th, raising concerns that the degassing had been blocked somehow and that a violent explosive eruption was imminent. By early June, tiltmeter measurements showed the volcano gradually inflating, likely from magma filling the chamber beneath the summit. Earthquake swarms shifted from a few kilometers below the surface to shallow depths just below the summit. Due to this, the Philippine Institute of Volcanology and Seismology, assisted by the USGS, worked together to convince inhabitants that the volcanic threat was high and they needed to evacuate. On June 7th, the first magmatic eruptions began with the formation of a lava dome 130 feet or 40 meters high, and a diameter of 660 feet or 200 meters across. If you recall from Monday's lesson, lava domes mean highly viscous rhyolitic magma full of volatiles. Not a good sign. Around 3:41 in the afternoon on June 12th, a small blast signaled the beginning of a new violent eruption phase. 14 hours later, a 15-minute blast sent an ash column into the air with such friction that it generated quite a lot of volcanic lightning. The following day, at 8:41, another large eruption occurred, lasting for 5 minutes and sending an ash cloud 15 miles high. Eruptions continued for the next several days. The final climatic eruption began at 1:42 p.m. on June 15th. It caused many earthquakes as the summit collapsed, creating a caldera a little over a mile in diameter. The seismographs close to the Clark Air Force Base were rendered inoperable by 2:30 p.m. due to the massive pyroclastic surges. At the same time as this eruption, things got even worse, because Typhoon Yunya landed on the island at the same time as the volcano was erupting. In fact, its center passed just 47 miles north of Pinatubo. So despite the storm obscuring the eruption, ash was shot 21 miles high, or 34 kilometers, and pyroclastic surges reached as far as 9.9 miles, or 16 kilometers away from their origin point. And for reference, this is a photograph taken of one of those pyroclastic surges, and it won all kinds of National Geographic awards and things like that because, I mean, look at it. It's intense. Thanks to the typhoon, massive lahars were formed, and as you can see, it wiped out a lot. And then volcanic ash covered some 48,000 square miles, or 125,000 square kilometers, leaving the area in darkness for 36 hours. The eruption was rated a 6 on the Volcanic Explosivity Index, or VEI, meaning it was really flippin' big. And I plan to do another video on the VEI so that you kind of get an idea what that means. But basically, it ejected about 10 cubic kilometers of material, making it the second largest eruption of the 20th century. Nova Erupta in Alaska was the largest, but it was also in Alaska and not near anyone, so eh. um, it was 10 times the size of Mount St. Helens eruption a decade earlier. If you recall the size of that one from last video, it is crazy to think this is 10 times the size of that. 847 people were killed by the eruption, mostly from ash causing roofs to collapse. Because, surprise, surprise, when you have a lot of rocks dumped on your roof's not going to like that. But we often don't think of ash as rock, but it is. It really is. But despite all that, the evacuation saved tens of thousands of lives and has been hailed as a great success for predicting an eruption. So they did a really good job despite the casualties. And considering how many people live in that area, the fact that it was only 847 casualties is super impressive. So yeah, this was one of the first times we actually used these evacuation techniques, and it worked really well. So, that is Pinatubo in a nutshell. Well, thanks for coming to today's lesson. Hope you learned a lot about Pinatubo. If you haven't yet, make sure you also go and check out my Etsy shop and buy some things, because it'll help me make more videos and hopefully better videos, because I can actually start to hire like an editor. That'd be awesome. There's lots of cool swag on there. Go check it out. And make sure you tune in tomorrow to learn about the John Day Fossil Beds National Monument, because it is super freaking cool, and I can say that because I've been there. So, thanks for stopping in. See you tomorrow. Fossilize you later.